So real quick, I'll just show the, let's actually go through all the neurodynamics tests real quick, and then we'll go into the foot and ankle. So the one we all know and love is this straight leg raise. So I can come in here, just try to get a good idea. Fun fact, literature states that if it's less than 40 degrees, that rules in your radiculopathy. Greater than 40, you're not ruling in your radiculopathy. So coming up, just seeing if they bring on any of their symptoms. Now, if I want to help rule in a little bit of the specific tests, I can go for peroneal, I can go for tibial, and I also can go for sural. So peroneal, what I'll also do is so if I want to test their peroneals, I can do inversion and plantar flexion. So inversion, plantar flexion, and then winding up there, just to add a little bit more sensitivity to it. If I want to get tibial, what I can always do is go plantar flexion, eversion, plantar flexion, eversion, and then coming up just like that. Just testing right there. Also, if I say we get the symptoms, I can play around with the ankle to help rule in or out that as well. Also, if I want to rule in the sural nerve, instead of doing tibial nerve is dorsiflexion and eversion, where if I want to write in sural, dorsiflexion and inversion. So again, dorsiflex, invert, hold that coming up, just that right there, and that will help kind of rule that in and out. Alright, so next we're going to go over the ankle. There's two ways you can do this, and I do it depending on the patient that I have. So first I'll show you what I'd usually do in supine. So go ahead and bring your ankle up for me. Good. Go ahead and relax. So first, actually go ahead and straighten your knee out, and then bring your ankle all the way up. Good, just like that. Go ahead and bring it down. And so as you see, with the legs straight, they can't move the ankle around as much. But I always want to see how they move when their leg is completely straight in dorsiflexion. And then I take them out of it a little bit. All right, kind of bring your ankle up for me. Good. Bring your ankle down. Perfect. Now what I want you to do is turn your ankle in as much as you can there. Turn your ankle out as much as you can there. Perfect. So then I want to test that. All those are pain-free. So let's go in. We can go into dorsiflexion a little bit there. I can, again, do a little bit of spokes on the wheel. Go down for your foot for me, please. Go down there. Same thing. Little spokes on the wheel. Same thing for inversion. Testing with, come in here, overpressure right in there. Go out for me. Go in, overpressure just like that. Actually, I'll tell you what. I'm going to take your shoes and socks off. Sorry. So, good idea to always expose the sides. So perfect. Now let's just go ahead and alright, so that is all your active and passive motion. So oftentimes what I can also do is go ahead and flip on your stomach for me. So another really good way you can do this is prone, which actually works pretty well. So I can go down into dorsiflexion and really kind of overpressure, go into different ways. Plantar flexor, go into different ways. Go into eversion, inversion, and test all those different ways. Since she's in this position, I'll actually kind of move a little bit on and do some passive accessory motion testing. This is a really good way to test it in this position because both positions, honestly, I like to kind of do both if I am really working on a foot that I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Because I can test lots of things. I can test my talocrural in this position. I can really get in here my subtalar and kind of get whipping backs in there. Go into here and test all of those as well. So let's go through joint by joint though. So first, sorry about that. So first what I'm going to do is go ahead and flip on your stomach for me. On your back, sorry. So first what I want to do is test into distal tib fifth. So this is often I will test most of this in this position. A lot of times I do want to support the knee a little bit. This will work. Okay, go ahead and relax. so give a little support to the knee so I can take gastroc off of it. First, what I'll do is assess my distillative fib from an A to P direction. So I'm going to get sidelined to chest P to A. If I'm testing A to P, I am testing to see, this is to, technically achieve dorsiflexion. If I'm working it, the other one is P to A is achieving dorsiflexion. So A to P is kind of looking, if I'm thinking their mobility restriction is dorsiflexion, and P to A if I think it is, P to A is dorsiflexion, A to P is plantar flexion. That actually might seem counterintuitive, and it is, especially if you do your mobilization of his movements or anterior fault. But that's actually how the convex concave rule rules down here. So the next one is my talar crural. What I want to do test this next is from an A to P. So I have a little bit of plantar flexion braced here, and just going down just like this in this position. The next what I want to do as well is test into my mid-tarsal joints. So come down here and just block around that talar crural and go into the talar navicular, testing this way, testing that way. I also can test the individual joints, going down in here, testing the navicular mobility and testing the cuneiform mobility. One joint that I've surpassed the miss that I think, another one that is often missed that I think is crucial for down here is the subtalar joint. The subtalar joint is huge, it's crucial. Some things you can do with that is coming down here, testing it in the sense of rotation. I can take it, that internal rotation, I can go out here, and this is a big one, external rotation. Oftentimes you'll find people that like that ability to external rotate that subtalar joint. Oftentimes this is going to be a lot of your plantar fascia, stuff like that. So going in here and testing that. So what you want to do, your angle's kind of this way, blocking down here and testing it. Also, you can do a little bit of distraction at the subtalar joint. So coming in here, distracting down, feeling that a little bit, and also coming down here and testing the joint at the talar crural. Something oftentimes you'll do is when you're testing this joint, you want to make sure you're being extremely specific. So if you can see, when I try to distract that subtalar joint, you see how the knee up here moves? I'm beyond grade 4. If I'm actually truly doing this, the test, right there, the knee should not move at all. If I am, I'm way past. I'm 4++. So oftentimes you'll see people testing the subtalar joint when really they're distracting the hip more than anything. Going down into here, a few other things that we can test is the metatarsals. Coming down, just going E to P, kind of feeling around, making sure you're getting a little bit of that twist back and forth. And the final one that I'll often test with patients, no matter if they have pain down here or not, is their first MTP joint, the big toe. The big lonely guy that often gets forgotten. Oftentimes you'll find mobility restrictions in here, and if it is restricted, if you can't have that 60 degrees of extension that you need, you've got to come from somewhere. It's going to come from your ankle. It's going to come from your knee. So oftentimes we need to bring this down, bring it up, and then test the joint to make sure we don't have any restrictions in any other areas. Big thing to look at. So some things that we didn't test. Of course, you can always, I did tacrural A to P. I can go P to A, but just kind of, since the foot's a little smaller, you can kind of do a little bit more of a pulling action. If I got the distal tip fib, I can test that way. And also I can test the subtalar in a P to A fashion as well. Subtalar follows talar crural. So what you're trying to gain from those is what you're trying to get. So